Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.
Well, next up, our good old friends, the Citizens Electoral Council, and they have a brand new plan. What they would like to do is abolish ASIO's police state powers. Let's learn more.
Strip ASIO's police state powers. Craig, the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, our domestic spy agency, it has laws that it received as anti-terrorism laws, has powers, received under anti-terrorism laws that were passed after 9/11. Those laws are up for review very soon. And one of the things that will be decided when they are reviewed is, will they be repealed, will they be amended, or will they become permanent as of 2016? Now, as I said, these were passed after 9/11. They were in fact rammed through by John Howard in 2002, 2003. We in the CEC led the opposition to these powers at the time. The reason we opposed these laws is they were part of a raft of laws, along with laws criminalising terrorism as a special crime, whereas of course all terrorism involves breaking already existing crimes. So that, you know, you can always charge a terrorist with a crime, but they had to make terrorism its own crime. They had to criminalise terrorist organisations, but people thought that this was against Muslim terrorism, but the laws didn't say Muslim, right? They were written in such a broad way they could be applied against trade unions, they could be applied against nurses on manning picket lines, they could be applied against other political parties like ours. So they were the general raft of laws. ASIO got these specifically draconian powers. They could tap phones without warrants. They could literally disappear people off the street and no one would know where they were taken. They could charge people with terrorism offences, but deny the defence of those people charged any access to the evidence that they were charged with. Under, that's got to be kept secret under national security powers, etc.
It's a bit like the recent boat people incidents, which has just been overturned in the High Court, where the people that were seeking asylum weren't allowed to see the case against them by ASIO.
It's exactly that, and so it's been in place for 10 years now. The University of New South Wales Professor of Law, George Williams, told an October 19 dinner of the New South Wales Council for Civil Liberties that these ASIO powers, quote, represent the greatest assault on civil liberties in Australia since World War II. The powers are more consistent with the apparatus of a police state such as General Pinochet's Chile than the laws of a modern democracy. They have no place in Australia and should be repealed. And he was specifically talking about that refugee case that you mentioned. And to compare them to Pinochet, right, people need to know what Pinochet was. I mean, this is as extreme as it gets.
I mean, there's something like 48 of these laws that have been passed in the last 10 years, one building upon the other, to increase the power of these police state agencies. And they're secretive agencies. You've got ASIO and you have Defence Signals Directorate, which is more pointed to the outside world. ASIS. You have a whole raft of these things. And in the last 10 years, Robbie, the amount of money from the budgets being put into these things, the size of these institutions has not just doubled but trebled and quadrupled in size. But it's designed, when you have a collapsing economy, to keep people under control. That's fascism. That's what Pinochet used to do.
And there's an example of a contradiction here, because a month or so ago, an extremist Muslim organisation called Hizb ut-Tahrir held an ugly demonstration in Sydney. This is an organisation that does advocate terrorism. It's banned around the world. ASIO has these powers but lets them exist in Australia, right? So what are they using these powers for if they want to keep them permanent? You know, they've...
Well, take also the other issue that we've talked about on this show before. You know, look at the murder of the ambassador in Benghazi. It was done by Al-Qaeda, who is... Obama now today is in bed with Al-Qaeda and these terrorist organisations to what? Overthrow the sovereignty of sovereign governments. So these are state apparatuses that are being used in order to control policies from external sources, like policies of destroying sovereignty, and it has nothing to do with terrorism. It's these mechanisms that are going to be used to control people and keep them under control.
Yep.
ASIO. Less than secure, less than organised, and sometimes a little less than intelligent.
Well, next up, time to learn more about a very interesting idea indeed. Well, UWA are planning to research Noongar place names here in Western Australia. Gina Holdsworth has more.
Have you ever wondered what words like Karrinyup and Ballajura actually mean? A lot of southwest Australian place names are derived from Noongar words, but the definitions of them are fairly fuzzy. Professor Len Collard from the University of Western Australia is conducting a project to find out what these names actually mean. I'm about to meet up with Len to hear all about his research. So Len, tell us a little bit about the project.
Well, Jonah, the project is an Australian Research Council funded fellowship. I was funded since 2011. I found out about it in 2010. But basically the project is looking at the Noongar Budja, or the country in the southwest of Western Australia. The research project is investigating the geographical place names of Noongar origins in southwest Australia. So because it's funded by the Australian Research Council, that was a prestigious outcome for the University of WA, and of course it allows me to investigate and interrogate the place names in the southwest. But named places and geographical work and language and culture has always been an area of my interest. Why do I do it? One, because I was interested, and two, I think it needs to be done. The thing about geographical place names in the southwest is that by and large the majority of place names are of Noongar origins. But one of the ironies is, of course, is not always are people able to explain what the actual place names mean.
And what is your research going to involve?
Well, I've got the database from the Department of Land Administration, and the database I'm talking about is the official place names, of which is about around about 2,000 to 3,000. What I aim to do with that is to basically explain the meanings of the actual place names.
And how are your findings going to be presented to the community?
What I'll do is I'll create an electronic as well as a paper output, and the electronic output will basically, you'll be able to go onto the Google, on internet, you'll be able to Google my materials, you'll be able to go onto the southwest corner of Western Australia, you'll be able to click on the little icons and you'll be able to see what each of the place names mean, and I'll give a little explanation of what the meanings are, so that the public in the future will be able to know a little bit more about the places where they live, and of course if they know more about the meaning, hopefully it will give a better sense of place and country and the understanding of the contribution that the Aborigines made towards naming the southwest portion of this continent known as Australia.
Do you anticipate that new developments in Perth will begin to have Aboriginal names?
Well, the thing about it is that, Australia and southwest Australia, we've got our own individual culture as a global culture. I think there's a really long history and record of relationships between Noongars and non-Noongars around geographical places, and that's why we've got so many of them. And to me, as West Australians and people that live in southwest Australia, we've got a culture that makes us special and makes us different to the others. And so it'd be my hope that, that we continue the tradition of naming the places according to the old culture of southwest Australia. So in the case of the new development around Queen Elizabeth Keys, us Noongars already know what that waterway called, the Derbil Yerrigan. And the Derbil Yerrigan is a very nice name and it sounds wonderful, and of course that is its place name.
Not only is Len's research very interesting, it's also highly relevant. I mean, wouldn't you want to know if your suburb's name actually meant place of fleas? This is Gina Holdsworth reporting for Undercurrent.
Next up, a story with my name all over it. Very envious of Miles Riley, who got to go and take a closer look at the Thai Food Festival.
So we're here at Asia House on Stirling Street in Perth for the Thai Food Fair. So let's go and have a look. So can you tell us a bit about the Thai food fair?
Oh well, initially we have started this in July last year, 2011. We had a few months breaks regarding the renovation of the Asia House, and this year we have restarted again in June. Initially we organized it as the monthly event, but then it's got so popular we have to do it fortnightly. So, and it's been fantastic and people love it. The aim of the whole event is just to bring Thai people together, you know, like a social gathering, and at the same time we promote the Thai food and Thai culture. This food typically a central Thai, so it has chicken stir fry with chilies and some fish, spicy fish with chili paste and some beans, and that a little bit more exotic, which something I don't eat, is the chicken feet salad. It looks very interesting, that one there. And that one is just the curry paste. Here we have the very famous beef massaman curry. The curry where it has peanuts and coconuts and some potato and onions. It's really nice. And this dish here, just a simple deep fry chicken wings with Kun Malai's special herbs.
What have we got here?
This one is fish bowls. Is that right? Fish bowls. So they didn't make this themselves. I guess they bought it. But the highlight of this one would be the dipping sauce that is homemade. She did it herself. It's the most exotic Thai dessert you can get in Perth. You won't be able to get them in Thai restaurant anywhere because they don't have time to manage all this. This is black sticky rice. That is split pea. It's mung bean pudding. And that's sago. Black bean coconut. And the next one is just the plain sticky rice, but I guess she put some longan.
Honestly, I'm here once a month.
I think I've been here about 4 times or 3. So, yeah.
Every time it's on.
And what's your favourite dish? Do you have a particular favourite?
Pork and rice. Yeah, pork and sticky rice.
And what about yourself, honey? What's your favourite food?
Mostly chicken.
So if you love Thai food as much as I do, then the Thai Food Fair is the place to be. The event runs on the 2nd Sunday and 4th Saturday of every month, and for more information visit the Office of Multicultural Interest Community Events page. I'm Mars Riley reporting for Undercurrent.
Well, that brings us to the end of what, in my opinion, has been a rather bumper episode of Undercurrent. Now, don't forget to join myself and the whole rest of the team next week for a whole lot more of Western Australia's very own Undercurrent.
Undercurrent, sponsored by John Hughes in Victoria Park. Choose your station before you choose your program. Absolutely.